What is up, you amazing people? It is I, Nima, and today I want to talk about Shovel Knight Dig. This is a game that I'm not that familiar with. In fact, this is my very first Shovel Knight. Now, as it turns out to be, this one is more of a roguelike than the typical Shovel Knight game. But that doesn't always mean a bad thing, as this one has a lot of different dynamics and a lot of fun to be had here. Before we get into that though, I would like you guys to please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps out a ton, and I truly appreciate it. I have to say, I have to thank my friend Matt. Now, Matt is like a huge Shovel Knight fan, and he was able to tell me all sorts of stuff I had no idea about with this game. And it truly did make an impact because there was a lot of aspects to this game that I actually appreciated knowing some of the backstory, but not really a lot of it. It was more like just from a gamer's perspective. And when I say that, I also mean as a reviewer as well. So anyway, Shovel Knight Dig is a prequel to the original Shovel Knight. In this game, we are met with a new foe named Dig Knight. Now, he has assembled a group of knights called the Hexcavators, as they have dug a gigantic hole in the search of a legendary treasure room. Now, this causes a lot of panic amongst the people who live on the surface because, well, there's a gigantic hole causing problems now. And as one could assume, you're gonna have some issues. Now, as Shovel Knight, your motivation isn't just as the friendly neighborhood hero, it's also revenge, as Drill Knight, on his way down, decided to steal your treasure as well. So, yeah, it's really more about you getting your stuff back. And this comes in the form of you jumping down this hole. And you'll do this repeatedly, as this really is much more of a roguelike game than the original Shovel Knight. Now, the nice thing about this game, though, opposed to last year's release, is this one actually performs more like the traditional Shovel Knight, as your attacks and your digging and all of those controls that everyone really loved is back for this game. The thing is, it's not just a pure roguelike, as you do get to keep some of your items when you die, namely your gems. Now, your accessories, upgrades, things like that, they all go away. But the whole purpose is to dig down as deep as you possibly can. The whole area is split up into 3 different biomes, with the 4th one being where a knight boss is. And it's kind of cool to see some of these different bosses, especially not being familiar with the game at all. A lot of the different knights were really cool to see. And just the interaction and ability to fight these knights is quite a treasure, because getting to these knights is quite a feat. This game is very difficult. Now, it is basically a typical roguelike in the fact that it's going to throw everything at you, and when you die, it's going to punish you by making you restart from the beginning. But the thing is there are a couple things you can use to your advantage. Number one is upgrades. Now, you'll be able to purchase these on the surface, or at least you'll be able to purchase access to them, and then once you find them, you can upgrade them. The other thing about this game, though, is there's these 3 gears. These 3 gears are the most important thing of the game when you're first starting out, because they're in each level, and usually they're in a place where they're kind of difficult to get, and they'll kind of call to you. Now, sometimes you'll end up killing yourself trying to get to them, but they're important for one major reason, and that is when you actually finish a biome, you then have the opportunity to turn them in for either some sort of random upgrade, or, which is most important when you're starting off, is full health. And that is what keeps you going throughout this game, and that's what helps you actually achieve getting to and finally beating some of these bosses definitely early on. Now, for me and my friends and my family, this actually became a game of competition, as we would battle to see who could get further down. And if you don't have anyone that you can pass a switch back and forth with, you can also put all of your scores on a leaderboard that is actually right up near the gigantic hole. And it gives you some sort of replayability, and it also kind of gives you some form of motivation as well. And again, this isn't something you have to do, but I actually really think it's just a cool little aspect of the game. As, again, most of this game really is about replayability and that roguelike game loop, as the story is somewhat intriguing, but really does take a back seat to just the actual gameplay. Another thing that my friends who were huge Shovel Knight fans had told me was that this game looks so much better than a lot of the other games that they've played. Going from the 8-bit to 16-bit really helped define a lot of these characters and really helped them look at Shovel Knight in a new way. Now, I actually have no idea what they're talking about, but I'll take their word for it. And honestly, I thought this game, as far as like a pixel art fan, I thought it looked beautiful. So I could see what they were talking about as it being like a very graphically pleasing game. Musically, I would say this game is, it's a mid. Like, it's not great, it's not bad. It fits the game. And I think that's ultimately all we ask for when it comes to most games. Now, the part where I actually have to think about it analytically and critically, and it's not great. The bad part about this game is it's incredibly short, especially for the price. I had no problem throwing down I think it was $25, $30 for the game, until I only played it for about 3 to 4 hours, and I'd pretty much had beaten it, or gotten all the way down to the bottom of the hole at least. Now, there's a lot of replayability if this is your style of game and if you really enjoy Shovel Knight. Now, being somebody who is a series newcomer, and I got enough to, see the interactions between Shield Knight and Shovel Knight, and I kind of got my feel of a lot of the game, playing solo anyway. That $30 price tag for a game that's only about 4 hours just doesn't seem to sit right with me. It seems to be something that is way, way overpriced. Now, again, I think that this is a game that if you are a huge fan of Shovel Knight, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to appreciate replaying it, and you're going to appreciate the roguelike style, and a lot of other people who enjoy roguelike will also appreciate this game, because it is very satisfying, and there's more to uncover. But for the novice or for the first timer, you really just focus on getting to the bottom of that hole, and then once you do, there's not a lot for you. Yeah, you could run just for points and whatever, but if it's pure gameplay that you're looking for and pure story, this game really only lasts about 4 to 5 hours, and again, I have to say with that $30 price tag, just something I can't really overlook. Ultimately, I would score this game about a 7 out of 10. Now, it would get up into that 8 to even 8.5 out of 10 had the value been better, because everything else with this game runs perfectly. It's just the length and the cost. I don't mind a short game, but I don't appreciate a high price tag with a short game. Now, I think most people who are fans of the series are going to enjoy it and should get it regardless. Newcomers, you might want to wait for a sale if you ever get one from Yacht Club Games, which is very, very seldom. Anyway, though, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for checking it out. Let me know if you plan on picking it up. If you're Shovel Knight fans, also let me know what your thoughts are on this game. But like always, I wish you guys health, wealth, and above all, I hope you're truly happy, because y'all make me happy. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.